So is there a way you can reduce your inflammation with foods? You bet there is, and I got the 5 best ones to help you do that in this video.
Let's go.
Hi there, welcome. Coach Tanya here with Critical Bench, holistic health practitioner. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the best 5 foods to help reduce your inflammation. But before I tell you about that, I want to draw your attention to the pinned comment below. That link is going to take you to a fantastic product called 101 Superfoods. Now, if you're all about a healthy immune system, just optimized nutrition, optimized wellness, just an optimized, better functioning you want to click that link and find out more about the 101 top superfoods you want to be including more of in your diet. Inflammation gets a lot of press. And the thing with inflammation is that it gets a lot of bad press, but not all inflammation is bad. Your body has an inflammatory response to things like foreign invaders. And if you hurt yourself, okay, that is your body's way of protecting you. So in that sense, inflammation is something, to be happy about. I mean, it's a good thing. That's a healthy biological, physiological response to harm. And it's, part of the healing process for you. However, when you have persistent chronic inflammation, that's when other problems can occur. So much so that there are some diseases that science has linked to chronic persistent inflammation. And those are cancer, lupus, heart disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. So, when talking about inflammation, before we all hit the panic button, we really need to understand, what are we talking about? Are we talking about, I got hurt, I've got inflammation, or there's some kind of foreign invader and my body's responding to it as a means to heal and recover? Or have I now been diagnosed with something, and is inflammation part of the problem, and is there something I can do to reduce inflammation and maybe have an impact on, bettering my health? So, when it comes to inflammation and ways we can reduce it, with anything, whether I'm talking about inflammation, weight loss, migraines, whatever topic you throw at me, I'm always going to start at, let's look at our diet. I always start at, what are we putting into our bodies? Because that is the stuff that we're putting in that our cells are using at the basic level of cellular function to do the work they need to do to help us perform, to grow, to build, to repair, to recover, and to live an optimized, state of wellness. And if what we're putting in is very poor quality, then that is going to, spiral into how ultimately our bodies feel, how they look, how we perform, and what all we can do with them. So I took a quote here, and this is by Dr. Frank, who at the Department of Nutrition at Harvard School of Public Health. And this is just a lot of things he said, but I want this statement of his stuck out to me, and it is, many experimental studies have shown that components of foods or beverages may have anti-inflammatory effects. So that is good news if you're someone that knows that you have chronic persistent inflammation, or you're just, you want to make sure that making sure that you're including more of the good foods and things to help reduce inflammation, because it's a concern of yours. So some of the best anti-inflammatory foods include things like olive oil, green leafy vegetables, fatty fish, tomatoes, and berries. Now, the berries and leafy greens are very high in antioxidants and polyphenols. Nuts, things like nuts. You're going to probably notice a theme here. Not all of these, but a lot of these are fats, like good fats, okay? Nuts have been linked to reduced markers of inflammation. So these are foods that are good to include, and they're very easy to include. When you look at olive oil and green leafy veggies, okay, well, I just think salad. All right? Using your olive oil as part of the ingredients in a homemade dressing is fantastic. And I love when, the idea of taking ingredients and foods to be healthy and using them to create a recipe that you do at home gives you, you have now control over not only what you're making, but what you're putting into your body. So if your nutrition and how that affects your wellness is important to you, take more ownership over that. Take more ownership, like do some, get on the internet and do some research on, best, Google best anti-inflammatory main courses or best anti-inflammatory desserts even. I mean, there is an infinite abundance of recipes, meal plans, ideas, shopping lists to help you make this easier for you. So taking on a new approach to your health, taking on a new approach to your nutrition doesn't have to be a huge, overwhelming job. It doesn't have to be a great big deal, and it doesn't have to be tremendous work, because there is so many resources, good resources out there to help you. And there's also even resources to help you transition. Okay, because sometimes, and I have worked with clients where they have had, for a very long period of time, not really put their health and wellness as a priority. And when we're younger, there's a lot of things we get away with. I mean, there is an advantage to youth, right? And in how our body responds and recovers to things. But as we get older, we don't necessarily get away with those same things. So we start to pay a little more attention to what we eat, what we drink, how much we move, how much sleep we're getting, and when we start looking at that and taking it more seriously and wanting to make it more of a priority, it can all of a sudden feel like, I've really never been good at this. I've never made it a priority. I don't even know where to start. Stop right there with that dialogue and just pick one thing. Pick one thing. Best anti-inflammatory foods, anti-inflammatory shopping lists, best anti-inflammatory breakfast recipes. Start with one thing and do that, okay? So if we know what is good to include, I think it's fair to also include what are some things we can avoid. Because you don't necessarily have to be diagnosed with something. You don't necessarily have to be terribly sick to have chronic persistent inflammation. Sometimes what is our normal, let me back up. Sometimes how we're feeling, because we get used to it, it becomes very familiar to us. It becomes our normal, and we don't really realize how not optimal that was until we make some changes and really start to feel alive. Really start to feel that alertness, awakeness, that energy, that vitality. So we can get very used to being in a way of how we feel and how we move and how we cope and what we do, and go through life for many, 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 many years, never really, being diagnosed with, well, you better do something now because you have this. We can go like that for a long, long time. And sadly, a lot of times it takes a crisis to kind of wake people up to the fact that they haven't been really taking care of themselves to the best of their ability. And that's when it becomes this panic to change things. So these are the people that go home and they throw all the food out in the cupboards, everything out of the freezer, and they go and spend thousands of dollars on groceries and things that they don't even know what to do with, all right? But if we start now by including, really good, healthy, whole foods, making sure we're eating some of the anti-inflammatory type foods and avoiding the foods that we know can increase or promote or support inflammation, we're going to be doing ourselves a big favor now as opposed to waiting till we find out some grim news later on. So I gave you the 5 best anti-inflammatory foods. So again, that's olive oil, green leafy vegetables, fatty fish, so like salmon, tuna, mackerel, tomatoes, and berries. Now, what about the ones we should avoid? Should include them. We got to be fair. Got to be fair to all the foods. So this is not going to be a shock, okay? Refined carbs, and we all know what the refined carbs are. White, high in sugar, the things that we all really, really like, okay? And again, I'm not saying do not ever eat them. But if, let's say, pasta, if you eat pasta 3 or 4 times a week, if that's that is kind of a main staple. And I can understand for some people that it's cheap, it's easy, it's fast. Kids love it. When kids don't like anything, they will eat pasta. But if pasta has become the main staple meal in your life, you might want to start including some other things. Keep your one pasta meal a week or something. Don't eliminate it entirely if you love it. But maybe start adding in other things for variety and for health. So refined carbs, fried foods, again, a lot of the things we like, and again, it doesn't mean you have to eliminate them. Now, unless your doctor has said to you, you have got to, we're at a point where, you've got heart disease or, your diabetes is off the chart and you have been prescribed no fried foods. Well, no fried foods. But if what you're looking to do is basically revamp, edit your nutrition, and you want to make sure that you are not including too many of the foods that are going to support inflammation long-term in the body, then back off the fried foods. Okay, save that for like a weekend treat, or when you've got an event coming up, a birthday party, or you're going to a baseball game, something, and save it for that. All right, sodas, very high in sugar. I really don't have anything good to say about soda. I really don't. I mean, I do enjoy a Coke Zero now and then, but really, by all accounts, personal opinion, soda's just bad for you. It's really not good. And if if you're really good at having maybe 2 or 3 a week, that's all you have, I don't think it's going to kill you. But if you are I guess the reason my opinion is what it is because the people that I know that love their soda. Love it. Like, that is what they drink all the time. And yet these are the same people complaining of things like migraines and joint pain and lots of other stuff. So I just, for me, when it comes to soda, I'm like, drink as little of it as you possibly can. Again, save it for those events, for things that and enjoy it. But if you are, if soda is like your go-to beverage, you may want to reevaluate that decision. Another one is processed meats that are very high in nitrates. So things like hot dogs. Again, you don't have to never eat a hot dog again. But if you eat hot dogs every night for supper, or if you find yourself 4 times a week, you're heading down to the hot dog truck at lunchtime and downing 2 or 3 chili dogs, maybe not the best option. Especially if you're finding you don't feel well. You got achy joints all the time. You get headaches all the time. You're foggy-headed thinking, like by afternoon, you just, you're falling asleep at the desk. Everything hurts. You got a headache. Could be the 3 chili dogs 3 times a week. Just saying. And lastly, margarine. I'm all about the fats, and I'm all about the good fats. I don't think, honestly, I don't think I've used margarine since I left home to go to university. And I can remember a friend of mine, we were rooming together, and we were doing our grocery shopping, and I went to grab the block of butter, and she's like, no, we can't do it. Like, it's so expensive. And she was right, compared to the margarine, which they were almost giving it away. That's a heads up to the butter. But margarine definitely has properties in it that can not help if you have chronic persistent inflammation. Butter, on the other hand, it's a high fat. You shouldn't be eating it by the gallon or even by the tablespoon, but for the amount that I use butter, for me to use a tablespoon of butter, the number of times a week that I do, is that block of butter lasts me a very long time. So it's about healthier whole food choices. So that is my little speech, I guess, my little lecture on the best 5 foods that you can eat to help reduce your inflammation. If you do feel concerned, if you're just finding that you've got chronic joint pain, you're having trouble moving, you've got chronic migraines, if you really feel like there's something going on with your health, and there's more to it than, I've just got something, I've got a bug, I'm fighting a virus right now, I haven't had enough sleep. Go get in and talk to your doctor about that and have a discussion. Have a discussion about what else might be going on. He might order some lab work. And also, at the same time, take a really good, honest, hard look at your nutrition. What are you eating daily? How much are you eating daily? Are you not eating enough? Are you, like I've referred to it before in other videos, are you a grab and go person? Is your life so busy and so overscheduled that you will run into, like, while you're gassing up your vehicle, you will run in to the convenience store and grab something and go and just eat it on the way to your next event? If that's you, then definitely with that kind of an intense lifestyle, your nutrition has got to be a priority, and it may take a little adjusting to. But seriously, you can find some time in your week to make your grocery shopping and meal prepping a priority that will actually save you time during the week. You don't have to have that stress and panic about having good, healthy meals and snacks to grab and go with you. Hey, thanks for watching the video today. I'm Coach Tanya with Critical Bench. Don't forget to check out that pinned comment below for the 101 superfoods. You're really going to want that. And don't forget, give the video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button and that little notification bell so you never miss any of our great content. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.